Many a young maid lost her baubles to my trade.
And listen, when I say Richard Gage did the best job, I've been on national television, History Channel, PBS, with these 9/11 Truth hit pieces. They come interview you 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times over several days, several months. It happens different ways, different times. And then they just get the one time you stumble, the one mistake you make, the one time you rub your nose, the one time you pick your face. And there's some of that in the piece, but not by Richard Gage. And Professor Jones did a good job. G. Edward Griffin did a good job. The problem is Griffin's nice, though. They go, well, couldn't the hypothesis that fire brought the buildings down be true? And Gage is, focused with them. G. Edward Griffin, not G. Edward Griffin. I always get the two mixed up. G. Edward Griffin. Yes, David Ray Griffin. I got so much on my mind, folks. You'll find out Tuesday why that I'm getting everything wrong. Not G. Edward Griffin, David Ray Griffin. He's so polite when they ask him, well, couldn't it be something else? He goes, well, I guess. So they use his niceness. So they all did a pretty good job, too. There's no way to do a good job the way they edit things. Okay, Mr. Gage, you and Professor Jones and Professor, all you guys did a great job with what you were facing. Better job than I've done. You've got the floor. Break down the real science.
This is a pretty interesting series of events. And I want to tell you how it worked out, Alex, because we were invited down there for the first interview, and I spent 1 hour highlighting all of the evidence for explosive controlled demolition in this first interview, including the constant acceleration of the Twin Towers at 2/3 of freefall acceleration, the improbable symmetry of the debris distribution, the rapid onset of destruction, which is not characteristic of any collapse, even though, by the way, fires never brought down a steel frame high-rise. I told them about the 100 first responders reporting explosions and flashes of light at the onset of collapse. I told them about the multi-ton steel sections ejecting 60 to 70 miles an hour out of the sides of the Twin Towers, 600 feet, the mid-air pulverization of 90,000 tons of concrete, massive volumes of pyroclastic-like clouds of suspended concrete, 1,200-foot diameter distribution field symmetrically placed outside the footprint of these towers, the fact that there's no pancaked floors found at the base of either tower, just a 2-story pile of rubble, and how these squibs or these isolated...
Oh, I got to stop you. I'm sorry, I lied saying I would interrupt. National Geographic did put a press release out a week before the airing of this latest piece of disinfo, apologizing and admitting that it wasn't pancake now, that they were wrong. They have a new bogus, made-up fraud. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's called the column failure theory. Either way, we would expect 110 floors found at the base of either of these, maybe 50 of them. But we don't find any floors. We don't find macroscopic chunks of concrete. We don't find people. We don't find 10,000 file cabinets. All of it has been systematically pulverized and spread up to 600 feet away. We have several tons of molten iron with video and photographic analysis and eyewitness testimony from the first responders. I explained all of this to them, including the evidence of high-tech nanothermite, very high-tech stuff, which Dr. Jones also went through in detail with them. We talked about FEMA's analysis of the steel from World Trade Center 7, where they document sulfidation, oxidation, intergranular melting. All of this evidence was presented for them, not only for the Twin Towers, but for the 47-story collapse of Building 7 at free fall acceleration for at least 100 feet, and the molten metal found underneath it. That was a classic implosion. It's very clear. Now, National Geographic showed the collapse of Building 7, but they didn't say anything about it, nor did they give any of the evidence. So there I am being quoted as talking about the evidence for controlled demolition, but they didn't play any of it. And then you have this jerk, Ken Blanchard from ProTech, saying there's no evidence of controlled demolition.
It's a classic straw man. And then they get so cheap, separate issue, the Pentagon, they fire a pound of plastic explosive on a missile into a fiberglass chicken coop and say if a missile would have hit the Pentagon, it would have blown the whole Pentagon up. Now, side issue, I know you're not getting into the Pentagon. It's just that it's almost like they made it ridiculous as a hit piece to make people wake up. I mean, I know that wasn't their intention, but have you ever seen a hit piece this shoddy?
No. This takes the cake. I can only imagine that of the Americans that are not yet aware of the 9/11 truth, that I sure hope that at least 50% of them seeing this will clearly see the incredible bias in the manner of presentation, the tone of voice, the declaring us truthers in a condescending way, and conspiracy theorists in a condescending way.
Well, they did the language of film, too. They would put truther crooked down at the bottom to make your nameplates even look screwed up. But then the people that were debunking you, it was all done with precision. That's what Popular Mechanics, the fathers of yellow journalism that actually own part of History Channel now, that's what they did. They'd blow up my face, make it all yellow. Then they'd show Popular Mechanics, glistening stainless steel. Never tell people that Popular Mechanics owns History Channel. The whole thing's an ad for their debunking book, All Lies. Go ahead.
Well, not only that, but Rupert Murdoch owns Fox News, which owns 60% of National Geographic Channel. They know Robert Erickson of Creative Differences, the producer of this hit piece, very well understands which side of the table his bread is buttered on. This is really important for people to understand that.
Wait a minute, Creative Differences called me last year and wanted me to be in a JFK thing, and I said no. Man, this is boy. I tell you, it's like they have one production company for all this disinformation.
Well, yes, and relative to Creative Differences, when we went down there for our first interview. For our second interview, we were shown what's called the rough cut, and this was about 3 months later, and I don't know, about 4 months ago. And we were shown, David Ray Griffin, Dylan, and I, what was going to be on the final piece. And guess what? Most of that evidence that I just highlighted to you was in there. And I'm going, my God, this is great. I can't believe you. They're not going to let you play this, Bob, is what I told him. And he says, well, they've never edited me before. So lo and behold, what comes out, and I just saw it the other day. Thank you for sending it to me, because I don't get the National Geographic Channel. I look in there, and not one piece of our evidence is shown. And all they show is us reacting, coldly, having not seen any of these experiments before, having not been consulted at all about...
Yeah, they just show you these stage deals where, I mean, it's patented that thermite cuts right through steel and is used for that, the explosive thermate, and they just... I mean, they show you some sparkler held up to the side of one, doesn't even explode, and then you guys are like, that's interesting. You're being shown a videotape of something, and they go, oh, but that didn't convince the crazies. Nothing will. No, we just have the firemen and police saying, get back, we're blowing up 7. We've been told they're going to blow it up. All of that is ignored. Unbelievable hit piece. Stay with us, Richard Gage.
Hello.